Insects, such as crickets, worms, and cicadas, are often a food source that elicits an immediate, visceral reaction. For many people, simply hearing the words edible insects is enough to trigger an instinctive "no way." In many Western cultures, the thought of eating creatures typically associated with crawling, flying, or burrowing through dirt can be unsettling, even repulsive. But in other parts of the world, these insects are not just accepted, they're embraced. They are considered a sustainable, nutritious, and highly beneficial food source with deep cultural and ecological value. Yet, for those who aren't accustomed to the idea, eating insects presents a unique set of challenges, ones that go beyond just taste and texture and into the realms of psychology, culture, and even instinct. From a nutritional standpoint, edible insects are surprisingly rich in protein, containing levels comparable to traditional meats like beef and chicken. Insects like crickets, mealworms, and cicadas offer a complete protein source, providing all 9 essential amino acids that the human body cannot produce on its own. This makes them an excellent dietary choice for muscle repair, immune function, and overall growth. They're also packed with important minerals like zinc, iron, magnesium, and calcium, which play critical roles in immune health, bone strength, and red blood cell production. Insects are also high in healthy fats, omega-3 fatty acids in particular, which are vital for brain health and reducing inflammation. These nutritional benefits make them a powerful, nutrient-dense alternative to more conventional protein sources, especially in places where animal agriculture is resource-intensive or difficult to sustain. The environmental benefits of eating insects cannot be ignored either. Insects require far less water, land, and feed than traditional livestock, making them an incredibly sustainable protein source. Their carbon footprint is far smaller than that of cattle, pigs, or chickens, and they can be raised in a way that reduces environmental impact significantly. For a planet facing growing concerns over climate change and resource depletion, insects offer a food solution that could help mitigate some of the more damaging effects of industrial farming. Furthermore, they reproduce quickly and efficiently, with many species capable of being farmed in controlled environments, which makes them a potentially viable food source for regions facing food insecurity. Despite all these benefits, the appearance of insects, especially in their whole form, is enough to send many people into a state of hesitation, if not outright fear. Crickets, mealworms, and cicadas may not be the largest insects, but their very physical form is enough to challenge our ingrained cultural perceptions of what food should look like. Their legs, wings, and segmented bodies are not what many consider appetizing, and to even think about biting into something that has an exoskeleton, something that once crawled, burrowed, or flew, can provoke a deep, almost primal unease. The texture of insects doesn't help either. For those who are willing to go beyond their initial reaction, the crunchiness of roasted crickets or the chewy consistency of mealworms can take some getting used to. It's a different mouthfeel than most Western foods are accustomed to, and that unfamiliarity, coupled with the visual shock, makes it difficult for many people to overcome. The smell, too, can be a challenge. While cooking insects, particularly when they're roasted or fried, may release an earthy, nutty fragrance, it can also evoke the aroma of roasted meat or even the scent of toasted seeds. But the initial thought of an insect's presence, particularly when it comes to the larger species like cicadas, can overshadow the scent and make it hard for some to push past their fear. Culturally, the taboo against eating insects in many Western countries is deeply rooted. Insects are often viewed as pests, creatures to be avoided, not consumed. This perception is so ingrained that even the nutritional benefits and ecological advantages of eating insects are often overlooked or dismissed. But in many other parts of the world, such as parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, eating insects is a deeply embedded practice, with some cultures incorporating them into their daily diets for centuries. In these regions, insects are valued for their flavor, texture, and nutritional density, and they are often seen as a delicacy or an essential part of local cuisine. The idea of eating insects isn't viewed with the same level of disgust or fear. Instead, there's an appreciation for their versatility, as they can be roasted, fried, ground into flour, or even used in soups and sauces. The global food movement that has begun to explore edible insects is not just a trend. It's a step toward recognizing the potential for a more sustainable and nutrient-dense future. Chefs and food innovators around the world are experimenting with insect-based dishes, introducing them to a wider audience through novel preparations and presentations. Some have even begun to transform insects into high-quality protein bars, powders, or snacks, making them more palatable and accessible to those who might otherwise shy away from eating whole insects. As more people become aware of the environmental and health benefits, as well as the growing global food security challenges, insects may begin to occupy a more prominent place in mainstream diets. However, for many, the challenge remains largely psychological. It's not the nutritional content or the potential sustainability of insects that scares people. It's the concept itself. Eating insects forces us to confront our food biases and cultural conditioning, to reevaluate what we are willing to eat and why. It asks us to embrace a food source that doesn't fit neatly into the normal categories of what's acceptable on a plate. For those who can push past their initial discomfort, eating insects can be a deeply rewarding experience, one that challenges perceptions, broadens horizons, and connects us to a future where food doesn't just feed us, it sustains the planet too. It's important to acknowledge that the appearance, texture, and scent of insects are not something that everyone will be able to embrace, and that's okay. There's no shame in having a visceral reaction to something that falls so outside the realm of the familiar. But for those who are willing to challenge their preconceptions, insect can offer a surprising, flavorful, and nutritious experience that goes beyond just novelty. They are, in a sense, an invitation to open one's mind and one's taste buds to the possibilities of a changing world, one in which sustainability and nutrition go hand in hand with a bit of courage and an open heart.